You know, much of your success as an online business, especially with guitars, will depend on your domain name. The owner of two great guitar domain names has contacted me and he has them for sale. Those two domain names are guitarbuyers.com and cashforguitars.com. Call or email them at the contact information listed on that page, and they will give you 20% off the purchase price. In addition, they'll work with you to make payments if that's what you need. Again, that's guitarbuyers.com and cashforguitars.com. Hey guys, I got something really cool going on. This is a fantastic opportunity for actually you and I to meet and for you to hear some incredibly cool music. On Tuesday, October 1st, the Nashville guitar community is putting on a tremendous show of some of the top players. Pat Bergeson is going to be there. I had him on the show. He was mentored by Chet. Andy Wood, who's like lightning dangerous, also another guy that was on the show, plays mandolin, guitar, acoustic. He's a wizard. Darren Favorite, who's also on this show, second or third generation Nashville player. Matthew Lee, he actually runs a Nashville guitar community, along with Paul Johnson and John Stazella, and he is such a tremendous player. Meg Williams, up-and-coming blues star, and Terrence Downing, solid player, rocking in Nashville as well. So it's only $15 to get into this event. Again, it's Tuesday night, October 1st. The doors open at 6 p.m. The show starts at 7. It's going to be at the Analog Room at the Hutton Hotel in Nashville, and I think that's on West End Avenue. Tons of gear giveaways from Wampler, Eminent Speakers, GuitarEFX.com, BTPA Cables, Lucky Dog Guitars, Groon Guitar Store, Morgan Amps, and Von Scow. Pre-sale tickets, go to the Nashville Community Group on Facebook, and they'll have something for you there. And they also have videos of previous performers at this show on their YouTube channel. The other really cool thing is these guys have been kind enough to invite me to be the guest MC of the event, and I will certainly love to meet you. If you listen to the show, please come up, say hello. It's going to be a great night. Tons of cool guests, really good musicians. So come on down. Show starts at 7 at the Analog Room at the Nashville Hutton Hotel. All right, I will see you Tuesday night, October 1st. Be there. Aloha. If you want to buy or sell a home or investment property and you're here in the Tampa Bay area, in Hillsborough, Pinellas, or Pasco counties, then listen up. West Florida Real Estate is a local residential real estate broker that's helped over 250 Bay Area homeowners buy and sell their properties in the last 4 years alone. If you're looking to sell, you'll want to get their free report, The 7 Biggest Mistakes Homeowners Make When Hiring a Realtor. And if you're looking to buy a property, you definitely want to get your hands on the 21 Most Expensive Mistakes Tampa Home Buyers Make When Buying a Home. Each one of these reports is going to save you time and money. Inside, you'll discover the 7 most important things to consider when hiring a realtor, what to do if you're buying and selling a home at the same time, and the danger of choosing a realtor who agrees with everything you say. To get your hands on these free reports, head on over to westfloridarealestate.com. That's westfloridarealestate.com. If you're a business owner and you want to increase your cash flow, or if you're a label or artist and you want to promote new music, then listen up. For information about advertising on Everyone Loves Guitar, including information on geographically targeted ads, go to everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Hey, this is Craig. If you like this show and you want to support it and you want to keep it free, head on over to everyonelovesguitar.com/support. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/support. Everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. Man, I have just a totally cool guest in every way. He's the original gangster. He's a cool fucking guy, and he's going to educate us a lot and have a lot of laughs. With John Segs Jennings, he is the founder. Huh?
Original gangster, right? Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know what? I told somebody that was into punk that I'm having you on the show, and he said, "Oh man, he's original gangster." I said, "Yes,
yeah.
he
well,
is."
I suppose if he means by that I'm still alive, then
Oh, you're the original gangster.
As far as gangsters, I've never extorted any money or hurt anybody in my life.
No, that's just a metaphorical. Couple of announcements, original
gangster.
Couple of announcements, real quick. Number one, thanks to Marco Peroni for hooking us up. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And second, don't forget, you can now watch these on YouTube besides listen to the show. And let me get into Segs' background, and then we'll talk to him. And he's got a ton of good stories. Segs is a bass player and one of the founders of one of the most influential, if not the most influential, punk rock band, the Ruts. They had a top 10 UK hit from their first album that was called The Crack, and the hit was Babylon's Burning. I'm sure you've heard it. And another popular single called In a Rut, which is one of my favorite punk songs ever, actually. The Ruts were known for their anti-establishment stance. Imagine that, a punk band known for anti-establishment stance. And were strong supporters of anti-racism and rock against racism causes, ahead of their time, for sure, man. They were one of the most popular and exciting live acts in England. Two of the original band members, lead singer Malcolm Owen and guitarist Paul Fox, tragically passed. Segs will talk about that a little bit as well. Segs and drummer Dave Ruffy have continued on with Lee Hegarty on guitar and Seamus Began on keys. Began. Seamus Began on keys.
He's moved on now as well, so that's cool. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that too. As the Ruts DC, Segs' bass playing is prominently featured in pretty much every Ruts track. They're a very bass-heavy band. He also played bass for Alabama 3 for 7 years, and they're most well known for their song "Woke Up This Morning," which was the opening song for the Sopranos TV series here. He also worked with Edwyn Collins from Orange Juice, Mad Professor, Aztec Camera, Joe Strummer, Scabies from The Damned, Mick Jones, Tony Visconti, that was David Bowie's producer, Christy McCall, the Chemical Brothers, and many others doing sessions and loads of other stuff. Segs, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
That sounded good.
That's awesome, right? You're pretty.
Put all that on my gravestone.
There you go. We'll do it somehow, man. That's not for another 50 years, so let's not think about that. Hey, when I interviewed Marco, he made a comment, something to the effect that punk, it's important that punk, he goes, it's important you understand that punk didn't exist as a movement per se, as everybody thought it was. He said, these are musicians that just got up and played. And I think it's a very important thing for people to understand the origins of what was going on back then for you guys musically. I was hoping you can kind of comment on what he said and expand on that.
Yeah, it's true, because I think it became the punk movement, but I think any movement starts all from separate areas, didn't it really? What happened to me, we were a bit later than them, but actually Marco at that time was in a band called The Models, and Paul Fox and Ruffy were in another band called Hit and Run. So it was just crossover period, 75, 76, and people hadn't really heard too much punk. And they rehearsed downstairs, and they were just like quite punky back then. So that was 76. I used to go into a record shop that Ruffy used to manage called James Asman's right in the city of London. And I used to go around walking up, picking up funk imports, because I used to funk and reggae, a lot of black music. And then, so I used to go in there, and then one day, Ruffy, I walked in and he had a T-shirt with Ramones on it that he'd made himself. And I said, who are they? And he, I was listening to jazz rock, and he put on the Ramones, and we both went, oh man, and that was it. Next week, he cut his hair, he dyed his hair, he still had the same T-shirt, and I was still going in there, but, all the rest of the music became irrelevant, just sort of like that. And then, the rest of the story people know. But as far as bands were concerned, we kind of looked upon like a 1979 second or even third wave punk band, but we actually started in 77. And it just took a long time to sort of record anything, because we didn't have any money. But we were doing sort of early gigs and stuff around there, 78. And there was a lot of, between bands, it wasn't, I would call a movement something where you'd all sit around and talk about what your common interests are and what your common goals are. But this was, everyone was totally separate. And they used to, there was a lot of sneering going on, and, everybody wanted to be, if they didn't think they were better than the other bands. And at the time I was 20, then 21. My dad was dying, and I did a lot of standing around with attitude, but actually I was, shitting myself, because it was a pretty kind of crazy time. And it was a crazy time in all ways, because there's a hell of a lot of politically going on, a hell of a lot of Jamaican music. There was a hell of a lot of immigration problems, like just people not being able to handle it. And out of that came a whole lot of unity, which was fantastic. People uniting and everything. But those two the 2 years that it took to get to that, then I would say it became a movement. But at the beginning, no, everyone was like hating each other really, and just wanted to get on there and you know, you wanted to be better than the next band. You know,
Yeah.
I remember doing a gig with Adam and the Ants at the White Hart in Acton, I think it was, and that was really scary. And
so you knew Marco from what? You know Marco?
Yeah, but I didn't know him. But I didn't know him because exactly that. We didn't. Marco's only just started talking to me, you know, like 40 years later. Because then they didn't even acknowledge that we were in the building, let alone say hello.
Wow.
It wasn't just that, but that's what Marco's talking about. It was a kind of like that. It weren't like, oh, all right, you know, do you want to borrow my collection? It was, they were totally like that. I don't even remember Marco, but they were so distant. And this big guy called Tiny used to follow him around. He was like 6'7" in a big drape. And I just thought, oh my God, this is so scary. You know, because it was really early days. And that's kind of what it was. So it's like any great things, they're forged in those moments, aren't they? You know,
yeah.
I was just a young, there's an interview from that very gig. I've got a good memory, but Sounds came down to the gig, I think, a magazine called Sounds. And they asked Ruffy, you know, well, what do you want to do? And he says, I just want to do gigs maybe 2 or 3 days a week, you know. And my thing was, I just want to get rid of all this decrepit old gear. It's like so naive, and that's what we were. We were just playing, man. You never think about earning money.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I'm back to that now. In full circle.
Oh my God.
Yeah, for you kids out there, you know, this is not a great career.
Let me ask you this: did you ever get to see the Ramones live?
No, I didn't. You know, I didn't, because the Ramones came out quite soon. We were playing, and then when you're playing in your band, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, unless the band was like, we must go and see the Ramones. You know, I don't think that we had a chance to go and see them, and yeah, I regret that. I never saw them at all. You would have thought when I was in the States I might have seen them, but it was kind of over quite quickly in a sort of strange way. Well, the whole thing was. I didn't get to see them. I mean, I'm still listening to the Ramones today. I still listen and go, God, how did they do that? Because it's really hard to do Ramones. It's very hard, you know.
Sex Pistols.
Yeah, Pistols, yeah.
Same thing, you know. It's like...
he's a great guitarist, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that, Steve, because I'm hoping to do your show when I come to LA.
Awesome. Hey, hopefully you will.
Yeah.
Talk about, you guys had a tough start and it was over quick. Talk about that. Heavy stuff.
It's like it's heavy stuff, but we've actually got a book, Love in Vain, that explains the whole story, and it goes from extreme joy to extreme sadness, which I suppose is the whole thing with rock and roll and songs and doing gigs. It's all ups and downs. But from my point of view, you know, I'd read a book called A Diary of a Rock and Roll Star by Ian Hunter from Motley Crue.
Sure.
And I'd read that probably in 74, 75. And I thought, wow, this life looks like crazy, you know. And then, but the next minute, you know, I've met Ruffy in the record shop, and then the next minute, they've sort of formed this band. I wasn't the original bass player because they just sort of formed it between Malcolm and Paul. Ruffy was playing a bit of bass. And I went down to the first demo thing, and then I ended up, to cut a long story short, Ruffy said, I've got to go to drums. Do you want to play the bass? And you'll have to do an audition and get your hair cut. So I did. And so that's it. The next minute, we were sort of in that. So I'm in the rock and roll book that I've been reading, you know, and I thought I'd never be able to do that. I went to see Santana at the Hammersmith Odeon, and they had, I think it was Mingo Lewis or someone like that on congas.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was all part of the show. And I watched it, and then I read an interview with him, and he said, well, you know, I never thought I'd be on stage. He said, I was just a roadie. And I'd been the sort of roadie for Hit and Run, the band, and I thought, wow. I never ever thought I'd get on the stage, really. But the next minute, I'm playing the bass in the Ruts, because me and Ruffy were very, very tight. Foxy was a lovely man. Malcolm was great. And suddenly we're just rehearsing, and it just worked. So that's, you know, so I'm on what page? I'm on chapter 3 already of my book. And the thing is, if you rush forward through the success, then it's top of the pop, but then it's Malcolm's heroin problem. And then I'm already, by 1980, which is only like three years, I'm on page, like I'm on the last page, you know. And then the singer died of heroin, you know. So it was sad, and it took a long time. I mean, I'm chatting about it now, but we kind of we didn't know what to do. So I won't talk about how he died, but we've done, you know, you can read that in the book. But from our point of view, we thought what we were going to do, and then we all loved each other and we loved playing with each other. So we just sort of said, well, let's carry on. And Foxy said, well, we are the Ruts, let's carry on as the Ruts. And I said, well, who's going to sing? He said, you are, because you've got the best voice. Thanks, Paul. And I said, well, no, I can't. I'm not taking over as singer in the Ruts after, you know, the singer, a very charismatic singer, has just died, you know. And so we ended up compromising and adding. Well, we went to see Virgin Records, who we were signed to, and said, you know, we've got some good news and some bad news. And the good news is that we've written some new songs. B-side, the bad news is that Malcolm's just died that morning. I mean, I'm making a joke of it, but that's the way we were like going. Oh. And yeah, so we called the Ruts DC. They said, well, if you change your name, we're dropping you. Oh, thanks. Yeah, guys. But it wasn't really a question of money. He just thought, well, we want to carry on. So, you know, we weren't getting much money anyway, but we wanted to continue recording. We didn't know what to do. So we went back to our friend who became a manager for a bit, Bob Johnson, and we sat there looking up, discussing what to call things. And DC means Da Capo, which means back to the beginning. So it confused everyone. I hated doing it. I think we all hated doing it. But now, both Ruffy and I are very, very pleased we did it, because now we never came back to reform the Ruts. We came back with reformed Ruts. Yeah. And so it's affected, that it does affect tickets and stuff like that, because people get confused. They think you're a tribute band or something. But I still believe that we have to do it, because I don't think it was really right to continue as a Ruts without Malcolm Owen. It's as simple as that. And I certainly didn't want to step in his shoes, to coin a phrase. But I think, yeah, so we're kind of glad we did that. It has confused, probably lost a few people along the way who were very confused, but we've now worked on that for seven years, and so we are Ruts DC. And now it's funny, because now if we had to call ourselves a Ruts, I wouldn't feel so bad. but you know, but we've been, you know, Lee Hegarty, for example, has been the guitarist in the Ruts for like. Well, sorry, I just said the Ruts, but he's been the guitarist for longer than the Ruts were together, you know. So yeah, we got back together, really did the Rhythm Collision album in 2011. So we, you know, the Ruts were only together like 3 years max, but the main bit of it was only 1.5 years, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's going to take a long time, this interview, isn't it?
No, man. You need to have. I'm thinking Ruts DC, and then in parentheses, not a tribute band.
Yeah. Some people differ. Yeah, they'd say. Yeah. But we proved ourselves, really. Come back. You know, one of the hardest things to do was really that Music Must Destroy album, which you can still get, which 2016. But we'd done some reggae dubby albums, but we hadn't done what I'd call a rock-based album, you know. And this, it is, and that's what it is. It hasn't got any sort of reggae on it. And we did it, and that was quite daunting, but we did it. So, hey, and everybody likes it, and there's some good tunes on there. And we're now thinking about doing another one.
Well, so now you got a live album. You told me coming out.
Got a live album coming out. We just did. So we just did. It's 40 years since the release of the Crack, which was 1979, and there was people asking us, can we do the Crack live? So we played quite a lot of those songs live anyway in our set, or varying around, but we didn't. You know, there's some songs that we hadn't ever done, Savage Circle, really. So we learnt it, and it was bloody difficult, actually, because, you know, really? Well, they're really fast, and you know, I mean, I'm a lot more fluid now, you know, but it was, and God, you know, me and Ruffy were going, cross, is it that far? And of course, the vocals, I had to do the vocals and do them as well. Got to play the bass, hand, sing, and Ruffy had to change his kit, you know, because he used to have 2 rotor toms, and now he's got it down to a really small kit. And now he had to get, and so he's got the first gig. He's like going, oh no, I've got like, you know, sciatica, and you think, after 45 years of drumming, He's had to go
Yeah.
suddenly move his thing around and like, you know, he's out. It's hurting me just doing it. But in the end, we got there and we rehearsed, and it was a good tour. So we did 17 dates, did our own tour, more or less sold out. We did sell out Shepherd's Bush Empire, which is the biggest gig we've ever done as Ruts DC, and we recorded gigs along the way, and they're getting mixed as we speak in Brooklyn, actually. In Europe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the album's going to be out before the holidays, you said.
What's that?
The album's coming out hopefully before the holidays.
Christmas, yeah. I mean, I think the original release date of the Crack was the end of September. So, you know, we'll announce it then for Christmas or something, because I'm sorry to be so it's Christmas, but actually people will buy it.
No, it's a great time to release it.
Very, very difficult to sell stuff these days. You know, I mean, it'll be downloadable as well, but we're going to do, you know, coloured vinyl or maybe a picture disc, and because that's what the collectors want. You can't sell too many of them. But
are you going to have the original album cover
on the live?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because we did a 40-year anniversary album of the Crack with the original cover and everything. And the original cover's owned by Henry Rollins now.
Right. I read, and for everybody listening, there's a great story. It's a great story. I read the article. It was fantastic about you know how Henry.
I saw him the other day. He was in London, and you know, I can't believe I'm sitting here so flippantly saying, yeah, he's a friend of mine. We have a laugh together, but we can't do. And it's strange, you know. I got him in that Music Must Destroy video. I just asked him. He said, yeah, I'd love to do it. And I mean,
but he's probably thinking the same thing.
Well, I think
he's probably thinking the same thing.
Very. You know, he's very humble. He just doesn't suffer fools, do you, Henry?
Hey, man, who
should?
Yeah, who should? To be honest with you.
And he played in the Cutty Sark, which is an old tea clipper ship, original, I think. And the gig was actually underneath that, so he was on that like a rash because he likes adventure. You know?
Yeah,
it was very, very small. There was only a few hundred people there.
That was the one that's on the clip on YouTube.
Was, you know, us really. We just went back to saying, "Hey man, lovely to see you." And I'm the same as him. He might not be believed that he's doing stuff for the Ruts because it's one of his favourite bands.
Yeah,
it's just like I can't believe I'm standing next to Henry Rollins. Or you know, it's funny. You don't take it for granted. It's funny how life goes, and you meet your heroes, or some of them, and some of them turn out to be real arseholes, and some of them are actually the ones you thought were arseholes are actually really nice, most of them. So it's funny. It's funny, isn't it? You know, some people are just cool. Joe Strummer, there's a cool, and he was very, very cool.
Was he? Most of the people, like I've had 600 people almost on the show, and most of the guys that I've spoken to, just like you, I mean, you know, they're just normal. It's hard to be an asshole and move up the food chain. You know, really it is.
Well, it's not so much on the way up, it's the way down. We have a saying sometimes, like we did this gig it was a last minute gig in Poland that was put in, there was like 7 people there in a 1,000-seater hall. This was a few years ago. But it was only because it was put in the night before, you know.
Okay.
And I said, are we going to go and play anyway? And the promoter moved to Yavra. He said, of course you're going to play. These 7 people have come all the way to see you, you know. And I said, well, just answer me this question. Are we on the way up? Or are we on the way down? You're on the way up again. We have fun, you know, so, yeah.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
You guys were the first band pretty much to mix like dub reggae and punk.
We were one of them. I don't know whether we were the first. I mean, how that came about really was we used to do sort of legendary jams. We used to jam in this squat, you know, which is just, you know, squat in New Cross. And
is that a part of London?
Yeah, New Cross in London. It's sort of southeast London. Now quite gentrified, but it was kind of like poor then. But we used to jam. So as much as out of those jams, we used to have a little cassette player where we record. This sounds like a Dave Grohl interview I was listening to him. He was saying the same thing. They put a little cassette player at the end, and Ruffy had it, and we just used to play. And then we go back home and listen to our jamming and stuff like that. It wasn't serious jamming, but the jams would go from heavy rock, like Black Sabbath type things, to maybe the riff of Babylon's Burning in the middle of it, and then it will go into a reggae jam, and we'd listen to that, and we'd take bits that we liked, you know, which was great, and that would become songs. So Babylon's Burning, all those songs came out of that kind of jamming, or just stuff like that. And the reggae jams, then we started to just jam reggae because I quite liked it. And then, I heard funny enough, you mentioned Billy Idol, but Generation X had a song called Wild Youth, and Paul Fox had it, and we were doing it. Paul Fox also had a copycat, Wham copycat, because he loved Jimi Hendrix. So I used to, when we were jamming, he'd go, ow, 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 ow. And then me and Ruffy, we loved our reggae, so we just played reggae. So that was a really good fusion. But when we flipped over Wild Youth, and there's a thing called Wild Dub on the backside, and it's quite naive, and we actually thought, Christ, yeah, why didn't we think we don't have to jam dub reggae, we can jam rock and make it dub rock, So they were kind of integral, that B-side, and then we started. Then we did a couple of Rock Against Racism gigs with a band called Misty and Ruts, because around at Malcolm's house, which was also a squat, this guy called Chris Bolton, who just died, came around, and a guy called Clarence Baker being in Jawa. Saw him the other day because Chris Bolton's funeral, sadly. But they used to come around Malcolm's house, so they were managing Misty and Roots. So we ended up playing with Misty and Roots, and we were on the back of a truck, and they were playing for a bit, and then we'd have a go, and we were playing punk, and then in the end we ended up playing together. And then so the bass player Tony is saying to me, no, less notes, man, less notes, and I'm going, and you go, no, watching him leave all the holes. So I kind of learnt to play wholly reggae, and Ruffy's playing with the drummer, and so we were right immersed into it. And so there was no going back, really. We just thought we'd better record some of this stuff, and we did. I think the first one was called "Give You the Chance," but originally, you never get away with this now, but I'm going to say it was called Black Man's Pinch, because Black Man's Pinch in this country is if you get caught like in something and it makes a lot of blood blister. But back in the kind of more racist days of the 70s, that was called in this country a black man's pinch. So we although it sounds awful, but we had black friends and we were doing black man's pinch, like where we stole this off you, like pinch means to steal. So we quickly changed the name to Give You the Chance when Malcolm had to, but maybe I should have said that. Going to get shot down in flames.
Don't worry, there's guaranteed you'll offend somebody.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, don't wory about it, man. I think all this thing, is it like this in England? Like offending, like everybody's offended?
You just have to, it is, we call it PC, politically correct. I'm sure you do the same.
Yeah.
It's very rife. You don't quite know what to say. But the thing is, this is a different subject, because people are very careful what they say, but they're not very careful what they think.
But it's your intent.
Yeah, it's your intent, absolutely. And what's happening, unfortunately, with this terrible sort of Brexit situation, the wrong people have sort of taken hold of it and made it okay to be racist. Again, it's gone the other way. Oh yeah, well, they come over here. Everything that this band and me myself personally has fought against, which is, race. Ruffy always says, there's no argument for racism. It's ridiculous. So. We've fought against that and just tried to, politically correct. Yeah, I mean, Black Man's Pinch would be totally impolitically correct now, but then it was just what people said because of the ignorance. So we sort of are quite pleased that we did it and then changed the name, because it sort of actually documents how it was changing. But if you ask any black man or woman what it was like back in the 70s, they would say, yeah, of course we got that. We used to get all that. So if I get shot down for that one, or to defend myself,
no,
I don't want Jay-Z on the phone.
The whole thing is just it's weird, man. I don't understand what's going on.
No, it's a very divisive time, and
yes,
I think our respective leaders in our countries don't help. Because they want division, but we could go on about this for ages. But the basic thing, guys, if you're a musician or anything, even if you listen to music, I have met some people that don't, which is strange. That is strange. Just think outside the box and think what you listen to, and don't put anybody down solely on the basis of their race or colour or creed. There are arseholes in this world, that is for sure. But, that's being an arsehole is colourblind,
Yeah, they come in all flavors, man.
Yes.
What's the background? I love that song, man. What's the background story behind those lyrics, if there is one? I really like that.
There is. Inner Rut came about round, and then I moved up to London, and this is just from my perspective. And Ruff used to practice his drums on this little. He has a thing called a Pelham puppet, which is a puppet, and he had the box, and he used to have his drumsticks, and And I had this acoustic guitar, so it is about a guitar. So my first guitar was like a KY, Kawai acoustic. My dad had bought me, but I think it was 20 quid or something. And I just used to sort of write about it, but I was playing acoustic at first, kind of folky stuff, and just like you do when you pick up your guitar, right? And also trying to play Smoke on the Water, you know, like you do. And but I did that riff, because Foxy, he used to teach me how to play guitar a bit. No, don't do that, do that. And then write the chords, and then there's this guy called Ken Falloon, who's kind of mainly written out of history, but he used to live in the squat. Lovely guy. And he said, you know, oh, the Ruts, yeah, he used to come to the gigs. He said, you should do a song called I'm in a Rut. I'm in a rut. I think he said, I'm in a rut, so I've got to get out of it. When we say out of it, we mean like getting drunk or whatever stuff.
Oh, right.
Oh, I'm out of it, man. So you're in a rut, you've got to get out of it. And Malcolm just picked up on it, and then he did that, you know, and this used to happen a lot. I'd show that to Foxy. I mean, most of the time it was Foxy that had the riffs, but because he's a great riffer on. But in this particular occasion, I said, we've got this to muck about. And he went, yeah, that sounds great. Very understanding, Paul. And a lot of time we just do that, and Ruffy go, okay, and we would just like muck about, and Malcolm would just walk to the mic, open his book, and that came out. You know, what fantastic. I love, you know, it couldn't have come out any other time except at that time, but we recorded that in 78. It didn't come out until 79. So we had the recording, we did it 8-track, and
wow.
B-side was H.I.'s, the prophetic, you know, about heroin, you're so young, you take smack for fun. And we just did it in you know, not even an afternoon, you know. I think we went in there at 12. I think we were done by 4, you know. And a place called Fair Deal Studios.
You do have a good memory, man.
Yeah, no, I don't forget. I do, but don't forget, I've had to help people write books and interviews for the last 40 years. So
but still,
reminds me as well. But yeah. So yeah, in a rut. So that came out. We didn't know we couldn't do anything. Ruffy and I were working in this garage called the Vintry, just by Southwark Bridge, and
like working on cars.
Yeah, pumping gas.
Oh, okay.
Because we used to listen to at that time. So that would be Frank Zappa. You know, you gotta wind up working in the gas station. And there we were, you know. But we were getting stoned on, you know.
Was weed that's what it was that back then? Hash for you guys?
Hash or weed. But me and Ruffy used to smoke like a bottle bomb before, and then he tried to start working in the thing at like 8 o'clock in the morning, pumping gas. We had a really great time. And,
was weed that accessible?
The guy who we were working with, Andy Damon, who's now dead as well, unfortunately, we used to go in Ruffy's record shop and buy all his soul and stuff like that. But he had all gold, and he had 2 cars, and he ended up being our manager. He ended up selling his gold to sort of invest into the band. This is a great story. And yeah, some of the first gigs, he used to drive in his BMW, and he had an Audi as well, and he'd take the back seats out, and I'd put the bass amp in there, and the bass cap, and then we'd all go up the motorway. Yeah, it was crazy, but we used to have a right laugh in the garage and pumping gas. Yeah, it was funny. So
was weed that accessible back then?
That's right. So he came to see the band, and he said, "I really like your music." He said, "Well, I think you're really, really good at it. I'll be your manager." So he went out. Oh, he went, well, okay. He went out and he bought a camera case, like a silver camera case, took all the foam out, and that was he got himself a leather jacket, and he just went round and round and round the clubs getting us gigs. And
that's so cool.
No. And he'd ring up and go, "Hi, it's Andy Damon and the Ruts." And in the end, they used to go, "Oh, for God's sake, just all right, you can have a gig." And he did it. And then he said, "I'll put up we only need 100 quid. We had 100 quid to finish off the record." And Mr. Ruts said, "Look, we'll put it out on our label," which was their reggae label, but it was called People Unite. And so we were very proud to go on that. And Andy sort of paid some of it, and People Unite put it out. And one of our friends, Simon Potts, who was a friend of Bob Johnson's, got it to John Peel. He just did it for nothing, put it on the bottom. He was a record plugger, and John Peel, suddenly you're on the radio. Suddenly he went, "Oh, people have been telling me about the Ruts and Ruts," and he said, "I should have listened to him because this is just fucking great." And he made it his favourite record for a while, and you know, what a buzz. And so when Andy had gone to get all those gigs, we were still on that little toilet tour, as we used to call it. But suddenly there's like, you know, queues around the block with John Peel. So suddenly it's like, again, talking about the book of my life or the Ruts, it's like, wow, this is amazing. It's every kid's dream, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah.
And there we are doing that. And yeah, 2 years later, Malcolm was dead. So it was that short, you know, but ephemeral, we like to say.
Talk about who John Peel is, because a lot of my listeners may not be.
Oh, right, sorry, John Peel. Very, very. Some of you will know. We have radio stations, and when they all got kind of regulated after Pirate, because we had Pirate radio, like Radio 1, Radio 2, Radio 3, and Radio 4. So Radio 4 is the kind of guy speaking like that. Still very good. Radio 2 was sort of like for the middle-aged. Radio 1 was the pop station. It kind of still is. But he had a late night show where he used to play all independent music and even people's demos, and he just sent them a cassette in, and he championed the strangest bands. But he loved Missing Roots, and he loved Joy Division. He loved, but before that, he'd play any sort of band that he thought was good, and it was a seminal show. The whole country used to tune into it, and he was the tastemaker. And it wasn't just purely punk; it was anything, you know. But punk bands did come through because if he felt they were warranted it, he'd play out on their show. And so it was a dream, you know, to get on there. But kind of at the time, it's a dream. But at the time, we kind of knew the record was good. It was so raw. We went, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but to have the whole country hear it.
It ended up for free. And the story, at the end of the story, is like we got 1,000 pressed up. For those collectors out there, they're the ones with the black ring. We got 1,000 pressed up. Took him back to Ruffy's. Tried to get him under his bed, because I don't know if you've seen 1,000 singles. There's quite a lot. We're never going to sell these. And anyway, he phoned up Jeff Travis, who's also famous from a label called Rough Trade. Very famous. Got a couple of shops in London. And Jeff said, yeah, I'll have 500. And it was like, we went, what? And he just bought 500 cash. And so we only had 500. But that record ended up selling 52,000. You know.
How cool is that, man?
Don't even ask me what, because I don't ever seen a royalty check or any money for it. But it certainly went somewhere. I'm not quite sure where it went. Maybe someone can answer that. I'm not sure where it went. But we
need someone to do an audit.
We just, yeah.
That's awesome, man. 52,000. I have some bootlegs actually from Pink Floyd on Peel's show.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, There you go. See, because he used to have a label called Dandelion originally, and he used to sign bands. I mean, it's like he's part of the fabric. He was. You know, we ended up meeting him, and in kind of tragic circumstances really at the end. You know, because it really, really devastated him, Malcolm's death. Because he was also champion Joy Division, and then Ian Curtis died, you know, so he actually carried quite a lot of weight, John Peel. I mean, obviously with his musical taste making, but also carried quite a lot. He felt very responsible for the artists that he sort of helped to make, you know what I mean? Because no doubt about it, he did, you know. Without John Peel, well, without being played on somebody's station, and he wouldn't have got played on the mainstreams anyway. So we did that, and then we ended up, because of that, we ended up getting a deal with Virgin Records, which is another long story. And then a kind of a little bit of a short-lived pop career, you know, I suppose. Babylon's Burning was one of those. But you can never make a record. I mean, you make a record like Babylon's Burning now, you're not going to get a number 7 in the charts, you know, because nobody, you know, the next one we did Jar War, which was about the Southall riots, and Blair Peach got killed, and the SPG it smashed up Mr. Roots' place, and you know, in the middle it says, you know, Clarence Baker, no troublemaker. The Truncheon came down, so we put that out as a single. You know, right, we're going to put that out, Jar War. But if you think about it, that's not going to get played, right? you can't do it.
You're not thinking about that.
I think we had something I said next, which was quite poppy. And then I remember being in the van, and I think it was his famous DJ called Dave Lee Travis. He played Jar War, and halfway through it, you listen to it on the radio. It's halfway through. It was almost like you could feel him realising what the song was about, or the producer. It never got played again on Radio 1 at all. you know,
Oh,
because
wow.
it was just they were having the inquest into the police beating on people, and we were saying the truncheon came down, and it was just when they were having the inquest, so it wouldn't have been good to have that in the charts.
Wow.
I've not got a lot of time for how it went down with us and Virgin, but I do think that that's brilliant that they kind of actually put it out. I think
It is, to be honest with you.
what record company would do that now? I mean, nobody.
Oh, nobody. Which is why that
Universal.
most things come out sound sort of similar now.
Yeah, well, they do. And we were talking way up with Tara because she's a songwriter. We were talking about writing songs, and a lot of people think they can write songs, and I hate the ones that say, yeah, it's really easy, but it's not. It's not easy to write a great song, is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think even the best writers would still be going, I wish I could write like that Roy Orbison tune, like In Dreams. That never stop. That's how proper songwriters talk. They want to make something that sounds like the Birds or something. Some of them, yeah. So
I've had some guys on this show that have written really big hits, and what bums them out is, man, I'll never write. If they write something like that when they're 25, they write a #1 hit. Like I don't know if you know who Eric. Do you know Eric Bazillion? He wrote. He was with a band called the Hooters, and he wrote.
Oh, I know the Hooters.
Yeah, and then he also wrote "What If God Was One of Us" for Joan Osborne,
okay. Yeah.
And he was like, "Man, I'll never write something like that again." So it's always like the burden of, I want to do this or I want to do this again, and it's like I can never do that again.
Well, that's the problem. But I mean, I guess you just got to go, well, yeah, I wrote that, or I was involved in writing that, and that's good. Never give up though, because it's the ideas come from when you're least expecting them. Yeah, and you don't really know, but I suppose if you've written, if God was one of us, then you've got a bit of a way to go to write a better one. But I mean, hey, it's a hard one. Some people are just prolific, but it's kind of rubbish.
Oh, it's hard to write, man. Good songs for sure.
Yeah.
Talk about you play with some really cool people. Talk about how you wound up connecting with each of these folks, and also if you could talk about a good story about your experience with them.
How are you talking about Joe?
Start with Joe Strummer, rhythm guitarist, co-lead singer of the Clash.
Both of them, Scabies as well. Because Rat I met basically. Again, Ruffy keeps coming up because we were together a lot of the time in those days. So, but Rat for a while lived in his girlfriend's place, I think, in the same road as Ruffy lived in, a place called Forest Hill. And we were out one night, and Rat used to have this minder called Steve English. We were at the music machine, and Rat came up all like speeding, and he said, "Here, you were whistling at my girlfriend the other day," and with this big bouncer beside him. Ruffy said, "No, dude, we wouldn't do that anyway." Cut a long story short, he was sort of being like, that's what I mean. The bands were like,
yeah,
a band called the Ruts, let's go over, and it was very, very like that.
And just let me interrupt 1 second. Rat Scabies is the drummer for the Damned.
Yeah, sorry, man, I should say.
No, it's cool.
Anyway, we ended up and still are best of friends. It was just like initial thing, and the next minute he said, "Hey, do you want to come on tour with us?" The Ruts. So the Ruts went on tour with the Damned, and and we've done 2. And 3, we've come back and we've done another tour. We might be doing another one. Who knows? We still tour with the Damned. Rat's no longer in the Damned. It's Dave Vanian now and Captain Sensible, and Paul Gray's back. But we in that case, us and the Damned, a lot of our trajectory has been very much together. But the other bands, a lot of the bands hated the Damned. They hated because the Damned, it's different types of punk as well. Because there's the arty kind of punk, and then there's the Stooges kind of punk, and Brian James, the guitarist of the Damned, was really Iggy Pop. So it's basically that, and New York Dolls, that side of things. And other people are a little bit more arty. We were kind of in the middle as a sort of more dub reggae aspect, a bit more clashy, I suppose.
Yeah,
but, yeah,
for sure.
But, and anyway, so I was going to story.
No, man, it's all good.
I got a call, and I was producing this man from France, and I got a call. "It's Rat. I'm in LA. I've got Joe Strummer beside me, and we've got a margarita with your name on it."
That's a good invitation.
I said, "Oh, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, we're doing the music, and they're doing the music to a film called Grosse Pointe Blank,
Oh, yeah.
And Joe was doing the music, and he bumped into Rat, and they got in the studio together. And there they were saying that the bass player, they'd lost their bass player and couldn't think of anyone better than me. So, can you get over next week? And I said, well, I'm not working next week because I had a week off before mixing this other band. So they just sent me a ticket, and off I went to LA.
Dude, so cool.
I spoke to Joe first. It's the first time I've really spoken to him, and he said that. I said, "Are we going to get paid?" He said, "Let me pass you to Joe." And Joe said, "Hi, Segs, loving your work with the Chemical Brothers." And I said, "Well, Joe, are we getting paid?" He goes, "Of course we're getting paid. We fought the punk wars, didn't we?" And I said, "Well, yeah." He goes, "Well, we're getting paid for this. Just get your ass over here. I'll send you a ticket." And that's Joe Strummer talking to me, So that's nice. And I went over, and we had a week of fun sort of recording. We made one record really called under the name of Electric Doghouse. That's me, Rat, and Joe Strummer. You can get it on YouTube, and I think it's just come out on some strange compilation. But Electric Doghouse Generations, it's called, and we did it for a human rights thing, really. Then the next minute we were going to form a band, and this is one of the very many times I've been close to superstardom. And we're going to do a super band. There's me, Rat, Scabies, Joe Strummer, and this guy called Chaz on of all things, pedal steel, but it sounded amazing. And then we got offered one gig in LA, and I said, "Well, what are we going to play?" They said, "Well, we only got to do one song. We've got to do this generation." So I said, "Well, yeah, let's go, man." And it was a human rights thing. And then Rat called me and he said, "Joe don't want to go." So I said, "What?" He said, "Can you call him?" I said, "Well, he never picks up the phone." So I faxed him. And then he phoned me back. Joe Strummer calls me back. And I said, "Joe, you don't want to do this gig?" And he went, "I never wanted to be Sting," he said. And that was it. And that was kind of the end of that. And the band kind of didn't do that. And then he formed the Mescaleros. But
did you get paid for the gig?
Oh, yeah, man.
You did get paid.
Great for the Grosse Pointe Blank thing.
Good.
Yeah. About $5,000.
Good for you, man.
Disney, which is the most I've ever got paid for anything. Yeah. And so that was that. Sad to see him go. But proud that sort of, I've got a record. Well, it wasn't ever vinyl, but it does say written by, Mellor.
That's cool.
We called it Mellor, Miller and Jennings, I think it says, because he was Joe Mellor. Chris Miller is Rat Scabies, and I'm John Jennings. So we sort of did it. Yeah, that's
very
great.
Cool. Electric Doghouse Generations.
Check it out, because I'm really proud of it.
I gotta check that out.
It's got wicked bass on it.
Everything you do has wicked bass on it, man.
Well, no, not all, but I could have done better.
No, man. Talk about you work with Mick Jones.
Mick Jones much later on, and how did that come about? It was Mick Jones playing with Tony James. Tony James was from original Generation X. Mick Jones he done big Audio Dynamite of it. He had these songs, and the band was at that point was called Dope Factory, which was really cool, I thought. Dope Factory, and they were looking for a kind of rhythm section. So somebody suggested us, so I think it might have been Alan McGee. You know Alan McGee?
No.
From Creation Records. He's quite famous if you look him up. Anyway, he suggested the rhythm section from the Ruts, so we started rehearsing. And Mick had some really great songs. And it was a bit clashy, and of course the thing was always about the Clash reforming, which they weren't going to do, and but he had Train in Vain, and we started to go dun, 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 and we think, he said, "Oh, we might start doing that live," but it all petered out.
It's very funny hearing an English guy imitate another English guy's accent. It's really fucking strange, man.
I do it all the time
because it's different than your accent.
Got on well with Mick. We're still okay, I think. I don't see him a lot. I don't have his number in my phone, But yeah, it kind of went a bit awry one night. I don't know. We did started doing some demos, and they weren't sure which way they wanted to go, and suddenly it was over. So that's another close one. So one minute I'm going to form a band with Joe Strummer, and I thought, well, and then the next minute I'm with Tony James, Ruffy, me, and Mick Jones, and I'm sitting down with Alan McGee and going, well, how much money do you want? I go, well, what you got? And you say, well, kind of £1,500 a week, and I've never earned a regular money. I'm sort of looking, yeah, I guess that's okay, you know. So I'm they're talking about the costumes. We're going to look like gangsters, and we're going to do this. And Mick likes his clothes, and we all like the style. And I was thinking, well, God, I'm in a super group. And then, bang, it was all over. Somebody said something wrong at the wrong time. You know what? I'm not really thinking it anymore. And it was like, boom. So, but you got to laugh. You got.
God.
Yeah, I know. It's sort of but you know, I could have been a right arsehole by now. I suppose I've got £1,500 a week for 2 years.
No, you know what?
I'll be dead.
Somebody told me this a long time ago, and I found it to be true. He said, money doesn't change you. It brings out more of what you are. So if you were an asshole in the least bit before, you're going to be a big asshole. If you're a nice person, you'll be even nicer because you got less stress and more giving.
That's good.
And I found that to be
kind of willing to give being an arsehole a go for a while.
Was that?
Give it a go.
Just a test drive.
Okay. I mean, we can all be arseholes, can't we?
Oh, of course, man. And you spend a long time.
You know, my dad used to, he quoted a comic called Max Miller. This is one of my favourite quotes. Is, you know, whether you're rich or whether you're poor, it's better to be rich. You know, so
nice and simple, right to the point. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Talk about, man, you did something with Dr. Dre and Snoop.
Well, I only met them because Ruffy. Obviously, Ruffy is inextricable from the conversation because we're talking about Ruts. With this guy Lee Groves, who's mixing our live album at the moment and mixed our last album, Music Must Destroy. They was in this thing where they were recording, you know, setting up and recording drummers and selling like beat CDs, you know, before you could get it all online. You know, so they'd have a CD, you may remember them, like a beat CD, you know. And yeah, so he recorded Ruffy, and then we're at a big party, and then someone said, hey, you know, got a call from this guy, and he was working with Dre and Snoop. And
in Brooklyn said, or back in the UK?
In England. So he's at the Brixton Academy, which is a big gig. And they, at that time, so Dre and Snoop had come over, and they were just doing it on ADAT. Do you remember ADAT? So they used to run so they're running it was just a playback, really. They had the DJ, and the guy rang him, he said, hey, you know, I'm in London, Dave. And he said, yeah, Dre wants to meet you. But, sorry. He goes, Dre wants to meet you. And it's like, yeah, because he's used some of your, you know, they use some of your beats from the beat CD. And it's like, whoa, Ruffy said, well, do you want to come? And everyone's going, you can't go down there. It's really black. And there's going to be guns. It's like, we go down there. We said, it's all right, we'll go backstage. So we sort of got it was quite black, but, you know, it's Brixton, man. We're so used to it. And it didn't freak us out. So we went to go backstage. Nobody backstage. And then, you know, big fucking bouncer like that, big doorman, nobody backstage. And then, so Ruffy called his mate, he comes and he goes, all right, so they had to let us in. So we walk back, he puts us at the side of the stage, says, do you want some beers? You know, give us some beers. And there was only us at the side of the stage and some close family. And we're all going like that, you know, black family there, all drinking Red Stripe. It's great. And we watched them from the side of the stage. And then Ruffy got called and said, hey, Dre says, come up. And we're like, what? Because we were really listening to Dre, and it was a kind of strange time because a lot of people were saying, oh, you know, you shouldn't be listening to that. It's like, you know, it's anti-women. And so I said, look, and it's sort of about guns. And I said, look, they're not making, don't listen to it if you don't like it. They're not making it for you. They're making it because this is where they come from, you know. Yeah. And anyway, so we walk upstairs, and remember, there was no one really back there backstage. And there was just all rastas and smell of ganja. But the gangster rastas, you know, because it's quite heavy Brixton. And we just walk through and go into the dressing room. And they're all like looking at us, who are these white dudes? And we walk through. And Dre was just really nice. And I said, oh, I love you, meet you, man. I said, this is Segs. I said, loving your stuff. Great to meet you, man. Snoop was sort of like he was a bit like, he went like that with his finger to me. But who knows? I went, aye. And he sort of went, like that with
the handshake of the week.
He was kind of a bit shifty and kind of stoned and sort of wanted to get back home, I think.
Yeah.
But Dre was just lovely, man. It was just really nice. And then, so that was our Dre story. I you know, like I say, there you are, and it's like, well, you met Dre? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So we've had a lot of adventures, me and Ruffy, along the way. It's been great.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of fun. I thought you were going to say, well, they wanted us to make a supergroup with me, Dr. Dre.
No, he did ask, but I said, you know what? I've heard this before.
I've seen the movie. I know the
I heard
ending.
this.
Thanks, but no thanks. Yeah, man, I hear you.
Super group. That would be cool. Can you imagine that?
What would you say the top 3 experiences that you've had musically, for any reason, like the hang or just what?
You know, because I wrote these down the other day when I was on my deathbed. No, because you mentioned Pink Floyd. I think one of, I mean, I can't remember what year. It might have been 75. And I got taken by my friend Satch to see Pink Floyd at Nebworth. It was a big outside thing.
Wow.
And they did Medal, which I still love today. And then they did the whole of that. And then they did, or some of it at least. And then they did the whole of Dark Side of the Moon. It had just come out.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. And I think I took my first line of Speed to that. And I was like smoking dope. I was sort of smoking hash, you know, but not. I wasn't really like. It was just like, you know, just a nice kind of cool vibe.
But taking hash and Speed, it's like
Outside of the Moon. It was amazing.
Yeah,
you know, great.
That Metal album. That's when, to me, that's when like Gilmore became Gilmore.
Yeah, I love that album. I still play it.
That's such a great Echoes.
It goes so out there.
So epic, man.
Yeah, I love that. So that was one of them. I met Captain Beefheart.
Did you?
Yeah, he was signed to Virgin, and we were signed to Virgin, and we love Captain Beefheart, which comes up later. But we listened to a lot of Captain Beefheart with Ruffy, and there we are, and we're in Virgin offices, and Captain Beefheart walks in. It was like, whoa! So we're just chatting to him, and he actually made us sign an album to him because we said, "Could you sign?" We got an album. It was what was it at the time? Back Chain Puller or something. One of those later albums. And I said, "Could you sign one for me?" You know, he goes, "I'll only sign one. And what do you do?" And I said, "We're in a band." He goes, "Oh, what side of music?" I said, "Rock." He goes, "Rock! That mama heartbeat! I hate that." And you know, we're like, "Oh," and then he said, "Well, you know, I'll sign one to you if you sign one to me." So I had to sign it to Don Van Vliet from
Dan Van Vliet, yeah.
And the band signed it to him. He probably didn't even take it home, but I got one. He put 2 Segs, "Love Over Gold," Don Van Vliet, and then he invited us. He went to the gig the next day at the venue and watched him, and he was great, and it was a great experience to see in him. And then he was good. He sort of started to play this tune, and Foxy shouted out, "That mama heart beats!" And he sort of, and he knew it was one of us, kind of thing. It was great.
That's cool, great, man.
Yeah, so we went back to say hello, and then that's another little small. I said, "Do you want to be in a super group?" But so the event number 3 was really, I guess, hearing Ziggy Stardust album. You know, as you're growing up, and then you hear some things, and I used to love Alice Cooper. You know, I loved Killer, the Killer album. I just loved that, and I had that calendar on my wall. You used to come with a calendar, and you put it out. And it was like him on stage, like hanging himself. It used to freak me out sometimes when the LSD kicked in, but it was yeah, that was that. But then I heard Ziggy Stardust, and it is one of my greatest albums.
Yeah, it's a great record. Was Steve Hunter the guitar player on Killers, I think, right?
I can't remember. I kind of quickly went off. I mean, I liked Alice Cooper, and I still do like that album, but I kind of went into being completely obsessed about
Bowie.
Really. So, you know, I know a lot about David Bowie, but probably not a lot about the bands that were in, the people that were in Alice Cooper's band. But great guitars, and great guitar parts in Alice Cooper.
Funny enough,
I subtly got 4 events in there in my 3 allotted.
In your 3, that's good, man. It's all good.
Glam rock, I think, is the word. You know, rock. You know, what do you call Alice Cooper? But I've had this conversation with Marco really, because we you know, it's T-Rex, Alice Cooper, David Bowie. Everybody loves the same things, and then on the outside, a bit of Martin Hoople and a bit of, you know, anything you could get really.
Yeah, all good stuff.
Black Sabbath, though.
Oh, God, great.
Yeah.
Funny enough, this afternoon I have Earl Slick coming on the show. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was like, we spoke initially, and he's like a real and I'm from New York and he's from New York. So whenever I have New York guys, it's like, whenever, we're all around the same age, it's like we all survived New York City in the 60s and 70s, man. It's just like,
which is tough. I think the first time I went, I think was 1980, which is still quite a long time ago.
It was still rough then. It was
it was quite rough, and but great fun. I mean, again, grew up on the funk side, so listening to Stevie Wonder, and then hey man, New York, just like I pictured it. And I was in New York, and I could have been doing it in New York, and I knew though not to get caught up in the hustle, and I knew not to stop and look up the skyscrapers. So I knew from that Stevie Wonder record, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's funny. It was very accurate.
Keep walking with me and Ruffy. Whatever you do, keep walking. Because there, at that time, if you stopped and went, wow, they'd be round you like asking for something. There was some great things about it. I guess I haven't been for years, but it's probably quite cleaned up now.
Oh, it's too clean. A little bit too clean. Man. You're missing.
Because there used to still be, which is another whole subject, but you used to be able to take your money, the deposit bottles. So you got bottles, you got a bottle back, and I remember in New York, we used to do it here as kids.
Sure.
Which is a great thing. It's recycling, right? Plus
absolutely,
you get paid.
Man. Yeah, plus you get paid.
Fantastic. Why don't they just bring that back in? But in New York, it struck us because you get a kind of homeless guy and he'd have a whole shopping trolley full of it.
with big plastic bags.
Which was fantastic because they were doing a job and getting a bit of money so they could eat, and then they just got rid of all those guys.
Yeah, totally, man.
Guys, I saw, no doubt they're dead.
Imagine this though, man. I took my wife from Dunstable to my house in the projects in the Bronx where I grew up. She was
the Bronx.
Yeah, she was
the Bronx. Watching a few the history of hip hop and everything like that. We were very into hip hop in this country, but in the film, there's a bit in the Bronx where they're doing it and they're DJing, and of course it's set up, but it's sort of like most of it's burning, and
it was in the 70s.
I said it was. I said the first time, that was in the 80s. I said we should drive down that freeway, and I go, what's that? And it would just be flames and flattened out buildings, and someone would go, that's the Bronx, because you'd heard about it in films. And I was like, oh my god. And then so 80, and then the kind of pre-hip hop in a certain way, or pre our exposure to it. So when I listened to hip hop about when was that? Early 80s, 84, 85, then hip hop's coming out, and the Bronx. I kind of had a vision of this thing, and so when they showed the story of hip hop, the people would say, "God, that's a bit over the top." I said, "No, they actually were burning down the apartments for insurance purposes, and I knew that, and so are you from there? My God.
Yeah, but imagine taking my missus from Dunstable over there. She was shitting herself. She was like, "Let's go, please."
Wow, but you survived. You survived.
Yeah, man. That's good. It was good training. No, you get a good training. Like you get along. You can get along. I can get along with anybody. I don't care where they're from or.
No, well, there should be more people like you.
Accents.
Yeah.
I like when I hear an accent, because the way I look at it is they grew up. I'm going to learn something from them because they have a different vantage point on like a lot of things.
Absolutely. I mean, if more people were like I've been lucky because I've been, the early story, but then next minute I'm in a band and I'm traveling around the world. And well, first of all, traveling around the UK, because not many people do that even, or didn't. And then you're up north, as we call it, and then in Scotland. And the first thing that struck me was everybody was kind of much more approachable and friendly than London, because we got a bad reputation for just getting on with it.
It's big cities. It's big cities in general. I think
that's that a little bit.
You have your guard up a little bit.
But keep your guard up. But that sort of stopped me from being like that. It was great. And then when you travel to Europe and travel around the world, it's fantastic. And that's where I am. I like to, just absorb the culture really, and I love language as well.
Yeah.
I grew up living in Paris for 4 years along the way and learned French, and it was
really what made you go there?
Girl. I was playing with the Ruts were playing with this band called Valérie Legrand. She was a singer. Like she loved the Ruts, or more to the point of husband liked the Ruts. And so we played on the album at the Townhouse with Mick Glossop because they wanted that Ruts sound. So we all did that, what a laugh. And then we went on tour around France, which was an eye-opener because it's, God, look, they feed us. You know, you get to the sound check and there'd be like oysters out and you're like, we never had that. Even in the height of the Ruts, you know, you get lucky if you got a sandwich, you know. And it was so. Then afterwards, every promoter would have a restaurant booked, and after the gig, you go, "Oh, we're all going to this restaurant now, free boot." It was just like, wow, I've never been treated like this. And anyway, to cut a long story short, along the way, I met these other people, and they started called Lily Drop, a band. This is deep history. Ruffy ended up producing that band, and then I ended up going out with the drummer. It was female, by the way. And so I went to. So
you know what's funny? I was thinking. I didn't know he was gay.
Well, you know.
So it's funny that you clarify that because usually drummers are guys.
Well, you know, because things you realise with the.
I mean, I don't judge. I don't care.
The myth that we all live. One wrong word, and the myth becomes everything for 20 years. You know? Anyway, I kind of went over there for 2 weeks and ended up living there for 4 years.
That's cool, man. Did you have a good time?
Great, and a lot of good adventures. Learned to speak the language, and now I love, you know, if I could, I'd just travel around and learn languages. But to learn a language properly, you've got to be there for a while.
You got to be immersed in it, yeah.
Immersed in it, because to speak those languages, you kind of have to understand the culture a bit. But it's not dissimilar to, I'm sure it's totally different now, but if I went and decided to live in the Bronx for a while, you'd have to learn the culture, you know, wouldn't you? You know, or you come to London, you have to learn.
It's not that different. It's not really that. People are, you know, in my opinion, people are all pretty much the same. Everybody has the same basic needs. You know, you want to make sure your family's healthy. You got to make money. No matter how much money you have, you want to make more. You want to make sure your kids are listening. I think everybody's pretty similar. Yeah, there's different cultural things, but
yeah, I mean, we put up the barriers are kind of put up, and you know, even between religions, really, it's the same basic principles. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a different book. It's a different
book. It's the same God of what they call God, same God with a different name. Why kill each other for that? That's
I don't know, man. I don't know.
But hey, that's. I mean, we have to just. I mean, my path is an autonomous one. You know, like I try to. The only thing about the Bible, you know, do unto others as you would have done to yourself. Really, that's I try and do that because, you know, you've got to think, well, if, actually, the way I'm acting now, if someone did that to me, I'd be really upset. Obviously, sometimes it gets out of hand, especially when you're in relationships. They're the most difficult, aren't they? Because you know, you get to know each other so well. But that can be like that in a band as well. I mean, I'm lucky that me and Ruffy are still together. We have had our ups and downs, but never really a massive argument or anything like that. Obviously, you know, we feel we can, if we're upset, we can say it. You know, we're still doing it. And, you know, when I'm on stage and I've got to sing and play the bass, I wouldn't be able to do it really unless I knew he was, because the bass kind of plays itself with him. And then I can sing.
When you have a good drummer, the whole
I mean, it's just
the whole world is different as a musician.
Yeah, so I don't even have to think about it, and that's nice. And also we can then sit down afterwards and you know, go to dinner, have a glass of wine, and still sometimes have a real belly laugh. I mean, unbelievable.
That's awesome, man.
You know, it's great. And so when we're missing it a bit, not being out on the road. Not that we both got our lives, and we don't need to be in the back of a van. But, you know, it's good when you do a tour, you've got a thing to do, you know.
Yeah. You have a goal. You wake up, you have a purpose, a mission. Yeah, I totally get that, man. Yeah, that's a good feeling. What's the longest, like...
Going into a hotel room, it's all been cleaned.
What's that?
It's great going into another hotel room and it's all nice and clean. You don't have to worry about a big pile of clothes. You know, it's kind of the archetypal young boy's dreaming.
Yeah.
You said it, 63. We try and make it easier now. I mean, you know, I try and well, I never bothered about that before, but I try and get to the gig and then I try and eat. Like, I'm better at lunchtime, so I eat at lunchtime, because then I won't eat. I don't want to eat 4 hours before the show. I don't really want to eat afterwards. So we try and do that and hold ourselves together, and that keeps me kind of sane. Sometimes it's not always like that, is it? When you're in the back of a van for like 800 miles.
No, you just got to do what you can do.
Yeah, you just got to do. That's what I said about giving myself 12 hours to get over the operation.
Oh yeah.
It took 2 weeks. Yeah.
What's the longest? So you were with that gal for 4 years. What's the longest relationship you had?
Well, I was married. I'm not married now, but I was married with the relationship. I can't remember. I got married in 2000 and got divorced in let's say 10 years.
That's pretty good.
I can't remember, but we were married, and I got a kid from that marriage, and then we got divorced, sort of amicably.
That's good.
And now we're with Tara, and we've been together 4 or 5 years. I can't remember. I'm not very.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's good, man.
I hope she doesn't watch it. Sorry, Tara.
But you're positive about it, so let's focus. Right?
Yeah. No, it's good.
Low points, Segs. What were some of the low points, or maybe dark periods you had to deal with, and how'd you get through them?
Well, the darkest. Well, where do I start? My dad died, so my dad was always. He always, as long as I know, he had sort of cancer, and we moved around out of London, and we ended up going down to a place called Southend, which is about an hour and a half outside of London. Which was really good for me as a kid. I got a better education because there was less people. There was a football pitch, so I could play football all the time, and it kind of on the sea, which is like the estuary. But so I could go swimming, and it was quite good. But he always had sort of cancer, and then eventually, 76, he died. So how did he get? It was a pretty dark period, but not really, because he kind of set me free, and I was sort of I keep talking about drugs, but they're part of the thing. I smoked my first spliff, or as we call it, hashish joint, and kind of opened my mind a bit, and so I was reading this sort of obligatory spiritual books, Carlos Castaneda, and I was at that point I was also going through my dad sort of dying, so I was reading Tibetan Book of the Dead, and it was kind of keeping me through that. And I was becoming more and more friends with Ruffy. Ruffy just kind of set it aside that he was going to see me through my dad's death, and he did. And I thank him for that. So,
man, that's really cool.
Yeah. So I was going to say, how'd you get through them? Well, friends, really. I wouldn't say I'm a depressive, but I can just go like down the tunnel, And the slightest thing will do it. It could be hearing the flat vocal back, it could be. It's not always like that. Other times you're okay, but it can be anything. Did a gig the other night, when many people there, and I was pissed off because maybe it wasn't promoted in the right way, and then suddenly you're like, ooh. So how do you get through it? You got to reach out to your friends. Really, you've got to go out, because as soon as you stay in, but then. Right, in a romantic way, you sort of listen and you come up with some lyrics, and you think, oh, you know what? That kind of bad day that ended up into a really, really good song. So, and I took Psychic Attack. I don't know if you know that one. That's like clock going backwards, sweat on the walls. Sometimes I feel like I'm nothing at all. I'm under Psychic Attack. It came one day when I was thinking, oh, I can't even be bothered to get up. And I remember crawling to the toilet. It was one of those days. But, I think if you go up, you've got to come down. So you have extreme highs with music. And it's not, I'm not really a high drug. I've got to take all these drugs and then to come down, although I've had my times. But just taking one point of it, the adrenaline of going on stage becomes very, very addictive.
Yeah.
And your body gets addicted to it as well. So you get these highs. You've got to have a low, and so when you come back off a tour and it's all, you ask anybody, you're gonna sit there and go, I know people that come back off tour and then go to the family, they go to a hotel for 2 days to sort of like slowly come off the booze.
I've heard this. I've heard a couple of guys tell me this.
I've never done that. By the time I finish the tour, I've got no money left.
No, but I give you credit because you said something I think is really important that everybody I've spoken with who suffers from any kind of depression says, but it's hard to do. You got to reach out and talk to people.
You got to reach out. And Jake Burns from Stiff Little Fingers, he's had his fair share of that, and he talked about that on stage, and he's written some songs about it. You're better off when surrounded by friends, and I've got loads, and that's not including my girlfriend, who sadly has to put up with the ups and downs, but we all have to do that.
Yeah. That's part of being in a relationship, man. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not every day isn't a fucking walk in the park.
Of course, you go to stage 2, which is hating yourself for being in that state, and then you get stage 3 is, well, why couldn't I get out of it? Why am I being horrible to her or to them? And I just want to be on your own. But at the end of the day, it's better to go out. So I'm lucky that I don't go too far. If I go, I could go to sleep, and then I just reset my head. I said, right, this is pointless. I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow in a new day.
Right.
That's how I get through it, and I'm usually okay with that. And so that's the sort of depressives out there go, yeah, he's a pussy, man. Only one day, but you do get kind of.
You're not depressed enough for long enough.
People do, and you as writers, right? You get that thing, especially lyricists as well. I think everybody gets disappointed with their performance sometimes. If you try to finish a song, or you write a song and you do it all, and then you go, God, I hate that. It's rubbish. I'm never going to make a song like that. I'm never going to do this again. I might as well give up now. And so you're already starting your own
journey,
crucifixion, and that's kind of what it's like. But then I might be like that and going, oh, fuck, and then you go, oh yeah, I got that line. It should be that, So it's kind of like that. I don't know. This all sounds like a romantic notion, but here we still are, and I'm still writing lyrics and still writing riffs and still playing with the band and still in rehearsal. You might go to rehearsal. Oh, I've got rehearsal today. And someone plays something. Oh, that's great. And suddenly, you're back to being a kid again, aren't you? Really?
Yeah. Do you exercise at all?
I like drinking. No, I'm joking. Do I exercise? Well, I do kind of.
You sound like a politician with that one. You know how a politician, you ask them one thing, they give you an answer for something else.
Joined a gym for the tour, which I don't agree with gyms, but there's nothing else to do. So I went down there a couple of times. I hated it.
Yeah,
I hated it. But I did have. But the great thing about going was I sort of got in. I've always stretched, So I started off at 19 with yoga. So, I do a bit. I try and do this every day, although it usually works out about 3 days a week. So I do it kind of like if I can make myself do like 20 minutes of stretching. A bit of it's yoga, a bit of it's tai chi, a bit of it's qigong, a bit of it's from when I had a really bad back, so a bit of it's from my physiotherapist.
Yeah.
And if I do all those things, because I started when I did that acoustic tour, we haven't spoken much about music, but the acoustic tour with Dead Man Walking, then I've kind of gone from bass to playing acoustic guitar, and my shoulder, my whole, I got some real strange RSI because I changed the instrument, and it took me about 2 years to get over that, and but because of those stretches and the physiotherapy, I'm great again. That's another thing. I twisted my knee as well. We all get these, and everyone goes like, "Oh, well, that's it." If your knee's twisted, you're gonna have cartilage problems. But I went to a physiotherapist of sports, and it's 100%. And it's the same with this. People said, "Oh, that's it. He's got that, and he has to have injections. You got arthritis."
Oh, don't listen to that.
Is it all over? And then go to the physiotherapist. He said, no, it's okay. And I said, he said, well, actually, you're in pretty good shape. You're in pretty good shape. We treat you like an athlete because you're not an athlete. I'm far from an athlete, but we treat you like that because it's a sports injury clinic, and you go on stage and you leap about, and you're probably not doing it in the right way. And we're not going to try and teach an old dog new trick. You should stand like this, because you're not going to do it. You're a rock and roller. But do some remedial stuff. And if you can stretch before you go on, because you can't always in a really shit dressing room.
Yeah.
But I try and do it, if I'm on tour, I try and do it every day. And then I get through the stage, because like 1.5 hours of crack, not the drug, singing the Crack album.
Yeah.
And then, we were doing 1.5 hour show with some of Music versus Joy. And it's quite a workout in the strange way. But anyway, I left the gym now because I hate the people down there. So I just do the stretching, and I kind of don't do much now. But if I'm coming up to tour, we try and do a lot of rehearsing to sort of get up to that speed, and I might go to the gym at that point and just do some sort of stuff like that to strengthen my arms and stuff.
Yeah, that's really good medicine for
like. You just gonna laugh. You don't really. You just lay in bed.
That's good medicine for like.
I could have just said no. Do you do any exercise? No. I do the stretching. I think it's very important, and I think the lesson here, because it seems like some people will be watching this, and yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you that that's it. Oh, that's it.
With anything in your life,
except your eyes when they start going. Yeah.
Hey, your bass, man. Babylon's Burning, the original bass. Let me see that thing, man.
This is the Babylon's Burning original bass.
So tell me about that bass.
This bass I've had since I've got two of these.
It's a Fender Precision, a P bass. It looks so cool. Wow, man. Wow. That's not relic. That's real relic.
That's my belt, and it's not like the vintage. That's all. That was kind of new. This bit
cool.
here was put on by my old friend Chris Kelly, who was one of our roadie, we used to call him at the time. It's a piece of old coal. It's like like coal, the fuel. It's brass, so you put it on there because as I was going on stage, I kept putting the lead around and pulling the guts out of the guitar. So I'm not having this. So So when I got someone to do it up, as a vintage piece the other day, I said, "Should I take that off now?" And he said, "Are you joking, man?
No, man. Leave that. Yeah.
So that's that, and I've got another. That's the actual Babylon's Burning bass, and that's on all the first album on the Crack. That is. I've had that since I think I got that in '77 or '78.
So cool looking, man.
Another one which is not here, but which is it's exactly the same as that. I bought that off he's now the bass player in Dr. Feelgood, and he sold me that guitar for 175 quid. I bought that.
That
now
P bass.
That is an early '70s P bass. It's a little bit lighter. It's lighter, and it's flatter, very low action. So that's the kind of one I use. That's my preferred stage one now. And I always say about that. That's I've had that for 42 years or whatever, and that is. I always say it plays itself. That will just if I stop thinking, it will just carry on playing with roughly because it's done it so much. And it's a great guitar. And I've left it in New York bars. I've been in New York, after the 10th margarita. And back there. Oh, where's my guitar, man? I left it leaning up against the bar. I've gone back in. It's still been leaning against the bar. And I've thrown it across the stage. It just survives, So I love them both.
Hey, Fender should.
You got that guitar. That's the original guitar. You can't take that out. I said, what do you mean? And they said, you shouldn't be. I said, well, what am I going to do? Leave it in a glass case at home. So when I go out on tour, someone to break in and steal it. I said, it's when it goes, but it hasn't gone so far. And I'm very attached to it, but this is the way it is. Nowadays, I think it's a little bit different. You can get some really good guitars, can't you, that are not vintage. You don't have to vintage thing. But I'm kind of think mine was sort of a vintage P bass when I got it, and that was 42 years ago. So it's like,
That's amazing, man. That you have your original from.
It's still around. Never been stolen. Touch wood. It's never. I've left it many places, and it always turns up. Left it in the back of a cab. I even turned up to a gig. I mean, not so long ago. I went to the thing and we up the motorway and I said, God, I forgot my bass. I didn't.
You left it in the cab?
No, I left it at home. I just went out the door without even taking my bass with me. I mean, I guess once every 40 years is kind of okay.
No, that is all right. You get a pass for that, man.
Yeah, you get a pass, yeah.
Hey, what's your favorite song you wrote?
Oh, God.
And what's your favorite song to play?
Oh, God. I like playing Kill the Pain. It's really easy from that last album. I like doing it. It's just a simple tune. I like playing that. The best song, I think I like Music Must Destroy because it's quite sort of political in a way without being too political. And I like, I think the one, my best song probably is Golden Boy in a way, which was sort of about Malcolm and Paul dying, and it's a slower acoustic one. We very rarely do it live, but we do it acoustically live, but we very rarely do it with a band because it's quite difficult to get it right. But we will do it, I think. But I like that because it's very touching lyrics, and the lyrics on both those songs kind of came to me in a half dream state, especially Music Must Destroy It. I had a whole dream about that, and I came out of it with somebody telling me music must destroy, so I just said that over.
It's a great title, man.
Yeah. So I can't remember all the rest.
No, that's cool.
I think my favourite song is going to be the next one, and whatever that is, because
you know what,
that masterpiece.
You know what? I interviewed Joe Satriani.
Oh wow!
And he said, I asked him that question. He goes, "My favorite song is the one I'm working on right now."
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I'm sort of same. I've got one. Yeah, I'm kind of on it and just sort of working. I've just been waiting for the stars to be right, so we're all in the same, sphere moving forward. Waiting for the green light, really. I think because we've had a bit of a, you can't just carry on. At the moment, I'm working with Tara on a band, Tara Rez, R-E-Z, and I've made a little EP with her because it's good to do other stuff, So we've just written that. That's called the Black Snake Prophecy EP, and that's going to come out. We might even be coming to LA. I know it sounds fancy, but we've got someone who's out there and he's got somewhere for us to stay. Quite cheap flights. I've got a few places to stay and a few places to go. And Rollins said, "Oh yeah, come over. You can be on my radio show." So we might just treat it as a holiday and go over, and that'll be coinciding with that release of that EP. So that's a different style, but it's still pretty punky. And
Tara Rez, R-E-Z.
Tara Rez, yeah, R-E-Z. So that's good, yeah. And that's just been used in my friend Sean, he's just done a sort of climate change video. That's because over here they're going to have a strike. I think they want a 30-minute strike where all workers come out in support of recognition of climate change. And he's used the song "Fight" on one of her songs as sort of bit.
That's so great, man.
That's been announced on Facebook today. It might have even been announced since we were on. So
that's awesome. Yeah, man. Please do.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, Craig, where you like, I don't think I'm doing much, and then you say, "What have you been up to?" And you go, "Well, I've been doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing that." So we do a lot. I think. Sometimes you've got to allow yourself to just read a book,
Well, I think we tend to measure productivity in finished product,
which is good.
But
that's quite good. But I find it difficult to finish things. I mean, I'm impressed with you continuing this show and sending all the figures over, reminding me when I'm stupidly forgot. But I mean, it's very important to finish things, and I think that's one of the things I beat myself up about. But I mean, I should.
But there are some people though that are great starters and are not good finishers. That's a pretty common thing. They're really consumed with the creative process, and then they're better served saying, "Hey, this is how I want to do it. Implement it." To handing it off to someone else.
I think I'm one of those because I'm not so good at. I'm pretty good coming back in the end. Like I've just done on this EP, I got to the point and send it off to someone else to be mixed because I wouldn't want to do it. But then I got the stems back on my computer and started we should put that part in. I'm quite good at that. Like I suppose it's similarities. I'm quite good at pre-production, first bit of production, then forget it. I get bored, and then do the post-production.
Yeah.
So that's good. But yeah, it's
that's
hard.
Not uncommon.
Again, it's hard to work alone. Sometimes you think you have to, but actually, it's kind of better when you collaborate. Really.
Yeah, for sure. I've found that it's tough to reach out, but it is better.
Well, it is better, and then you can come in. I've got this song, and everyone goes, "Great," and that's good, isn't it? But you don't. Sometimes I'll sit down and go, "Well, I'm going to do these drums. Are going to be great." Ruffy's going to go, "Wow, well, did you program it?" That line there, man. The guitar's going to say, "Wow, that is amazing. What a great vocal sound. You've done it all at home, man. You should just release this." Of course, it's never like that. You sit there, don't sound right. So you're better off helping, get someone. We've got a guy called Wizard and he's like great with the computers. Just get him to do it because all the time you're going like that and looking at the screen, you're not doing, you're not actually thinking about what you're going to play. So I think I'm learning that as well, trying to.
That's good, man.
I'm like that with lyrics as well. I want to finish it all myself. I want this to be my song. But actually someone will say, why don't you say, Tara might say, or Rob from Alabama Free goes, why don't you say that there? And you go, does that mean it's a co-write? That's great. And then they never ask for co-write. It's just one of those things. And you don't care about co-write. 100% of nothing is nothing.
I was going to say, what are you giving up?
Yeah. But I'm just, talking very openly with you because I know the program seems to be less about guitars but more about a creative process and what tools you use to do that. So, I don't think we'll be talking about up and downs or depression, but I think this kind of helps people because especially starting out and you feel a bit, oh God,
Let me tell you.
I even go like sometimes, I'm thinking about writing an album. I think, I don't know if I could really, if I'm there, I'm immersed in it, I've got to do it. And I get a bit scared of the stings and the ups and downs and the disappointments, but that's all what makes it worthwhile, right? So that's what makes it great, because you care so much. But I was thinking, I don't know if I want to go to bed for another 6 months, not with music filling up my head all the time, because I don't know whether I can handle it. But when it's right, it'll happen like that, and that's good. But as I say, it's good. It's good to share the load.
Well, I'll tell you, that guy Billy Morrison that I was talking to you about earlier before we started recording, he gave me the most real answer anybody had. I said to him, I said, Billy, is there ever, what are some things you've done that seemed a little overwhelming at the time, but hindsight 2020, they turned out to be really good for you, or big breakthroughs? And he said, everything I've ever done.
Wow, great.
And I was like, dude, that is the most honest answer I think I've ever had.
Yeah.
And because like we're all like that, like, just because you've done something a lot, like I'm like intimidated by certain things, but I know that I'm supposed to be, sort of, and I know like that's part of the process. And then you put it out there, and whatever it is, you get
somewhat, I guess. You get somewhat, what's the word, immune to the pains of the process.
Right.
I mean, I kind of think, I started off in the Ruts when Ruffy said, do you want to join the Ruts? I was thinking, you can't do that. You can't do that. You won't be able to do it. And I went, yes. So I've never regretted that. But I've gone from that to being now go, well, I don't particularly want to go and do the crack tour or something like that. But, once I do it, I know that I will get through to the end. And I think you become, at least you become immune a little bit to the fear, although I do have the fear. But you sort of do it. I guess what I'm saying is I have an overstanding of saying like, well, I'm going to get through this, so that's okay. So that's, as long as you have that, you're okay, But I do go, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be a painter. You know what I mean?
You can.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, it's ridiculous.
Why not?
Yeah.
Hey,
I can't paint. I meant a house painter. Right? At least I earn some money.
Yeah. Tell me top 3 CDs or albums. Desert Island. I know over there it's not called Desert Island Disc.
I wrote quite. I mean, I'd have to take. I was thinking about it today because you said I'll put some ideas down, and then you sort of said, "Well, how are you feeling on that day?" I don't know what I put. I Ziggy Stardust. I'd have to definitely have that. I think 3. Right, I'd have Ziggy Stardust, Clear Spot by Captain Beefheart, and I think I'd have Dreadlocks Dread by Big Youth, because that was a very seminal record for me and Ruffy reggae-wise. And if I only had 3 records on a desert island, you're going to need a little bit of a reggae, aren't you? Sunnier days. Yeah.
What's that called? Dreadlocks?
Dreadlocks Dread. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Big Youth. Yeah, it's just great. It's also got some nice dubs on it.
I've got to check that out. Most important things you've learned about yourself.
I did write this down. I think, I think fundamentally, I'm a kind of good guy, really.
Yeah, I think you are, man.
I think
you said that like you said that like
I'm a really nice guy, because obviously sometimes you can be an arsehole, but I try and pass on the baton of everything I've learned. And if one chooses, the only good thing about getting old, right, is that you've got more experience, and so you should learn from that, and you should help people. So that's kind of what I want to do. It doesn't mean that I don't throw my hands up at the current political situation, leaders, and go, "What? Really? Are you still doing this to me?"
Best childhood memory?
Well, Yeah, I don't know. I had a pretty good childhood, really. So
Any brothers or sisters?
I got a sister, and Christine, and she lived in America for quite a long time in the Seattle area.
That's
And
beautiful.
I went up to see her a couple of times when I was 12. She's over here, back over here again. But she was very influential, although she doesn't really know it, was because she came back with quite a lot of. She came back with records. She was from Canada, I think. She was in Canada for a while. Was Stevie Wonder Talking Book, but with the braille cover, and so it was quite. And I've still got that, and that, you know, I heard that because of her. Stuff like she was quite into, you know, so even like Santana, she came back with a bit of that. But in earlier than that, she was she used to listen to a lot of reggae. So she was 5 years old, so she used to go out uptown, you know, well, we were living in the South End at that point. She used to go out to all these kind of clubs in Tottenham and the harsher places of London, and come back with all these ska records. So like, you know, Prince Buster, One Step Beyond, the Scatterlights, Guns N' Never Road, and she'd have all those records. And so Phoenix City, you know, so she'd also had a lot of Motown records. Used to collect the Motown, so I used to listen to all the Motown. Used to love them, and then I got into the reggae, and really, I never really said that to her, I suppose, but that's why, you know, that's.
So she turned you on to it.
Yeah, because she used to play it, and she was 5 years older. So this is the first time around. And then I got really into funk music. So I used to love James Brown. There was a show called Robbie Vincent Show. So I used to listen to those tunes, write down the tunes, and then go and find them, you know, and from the radio. Or I used to record it on a cassette and then listen to it, and then try and find those records. And that was crazy. So, but interspersed with the funk was always a reggae and a town of Motown. And I just grew up really with that 2-minute 7-inch. I love that. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I love that. I still love that. I still like to write songs like that. And of course, when punk happened, that was exactly the format they chose to do.
Yeah.
And you know, the albums came secondly, but the singles were the singles. Like Spiral Scratch was an amazing single by the Buzzcocks. You know, EP changed our lives. You know. Yeah.
I love it when people say I've never talked about this, or I've never, because what happens is a lot of people then, like I have guys that know, hey, Craig, I want you to have my buddy on the show because I've known him 20 years, but I know he's going to talk about stuff, and I don't know why he's going to talk about stuff that I don't know about him. So I like hearing that. It's just nice. It's I mean, like, I feel you're giving me a gift, to be honest with you. Like, it's really kind of you to share.
Well, if you look at all the other interviews, they're exactly the same. No, I'm joking. I'm just.
Touché, man. That was perfect.
You gave me some key points, and you know,
perfect.
I was at that operation. I wasn't ill, but you know, you sent me the.
That was perfect.
Yeah, I think I was in bed trying to rest, you know, and I thought I'll answer the questions now. So I'm looking at them, but it don't make any sense now, my answers.
Yeah, that's fine. That was perfect.
I wanted it to be a chat, you know.
Segs, that was perfect. That was the best. I set myself up, and you just jumped right in. That was perfect, brother. That was great. Hey, 3 more questions. Happiest moment or time in your life?
I think, well, I mean, it's strangely, in between when my dad died and I joined the Ruts, it was fantastic because my dad was dying. He was on his deathbed, and he said he'd always wanted me to have a trade. He gave me my first guitar, and he said, you know, yeah, here, this is going to be a waste of time. You're just going to put it down. It'll be like everything else you ever do. You know what parents do. I try not to do that as a parent. But, you know, I didn't. And next minute, he died, so I didn't see this, but I was in the Ruts. So that's brilliant because he bought me the first guitar. But he said to me on his deathbed, look, you've been a good son. Look after your mum. You've been, you know, do what he actually said, do what the fuck you want, but be the best. He said, if you want to be a burglar, don't get caught. If you're going to be a band, you know, you want to play music, try and learn how to do it. And I did. So actually, the death was more of a release, if you know what I mean.
I was going to say, yeah.
As a father, he did the best thing he could ever do, set me free. And I went into the waiting hands of Dave Ruffy because he was already helping me through. And Ruffy said, right, you know, join the Ruts. And of course, I said, talking about, you know, of course, I would have liked my dad to see me on top of the pops because my mum, I remember bringing home In the Rut, which is one of your favourites.
Yeah.
And My mum went, very pleasant. That's supposed to be pleasant. You
That's
know,
very British. That's a very British response.
Yeah, very pleasant. And she used to actually say that cliche, you know. So, you know, when are you going to get a job? I'm in a band, Mum, you know. Yeah, but you're not having any money. No, the classic.
Yeah.
Then we did Top of the Pops, which is a big show, guys. You might know it, but
yeah,
you know, it was the show. Every Thursday night, it was Top of the Pops, and we all cut our teeth on that because we all watched, you know, Lemmy in Hawkwind and people that were on the show. It just, you know, if you were on that show, you'd made it, right?
Yeah.
You didn't realise that you didn't really earn much money out of it, but you know. But when we were on Top of the Pops, I went home to my mum and she'd got all the cuttings from the newspaper. And suddenly, you know, there's all the pictures of me in the paper and the Top of the Pops cut out, and she'd have it all on the wall, and she'd go, you know, of course she gets it all off me. You know, I was in show business. You know, you know all those years. So bless them, they're both dead now. But so I'm sad that Dad didn't see it. So that's a kind of regret, I suppose.
Yeah, but you know what? You actually took literally his last words and carried them on.
Fantastic. I mean, I remember.
I mean,
and he only came back. He came back recently, actually, when I had that. Because I was, you know, God, we're really going deep now. But because he died of bowel cancer, really, and I had some symptoms, and I realised that it's been hanging over me for all these years. And we talked about this earlier. But so anyway, I kind of had to go in for tests and everything. That's why I couldn't do the interview last week. I had a sort of polyp thing cut out, and they did a biopsy, and they said, you know, you've got no cancer. So I'm like. I was like, well, whatever, you know, Wayne, if I do get cancer, then, you know, what am I going to do? I'm going to do another album. I'll start working on the treatment, or maybe I won't do the treatment. All those thoughts. And then when they said you don't have cancer, I'm like, I realised, actually, I was sort of taking it as you usually do. Yeah. It just went, whoa.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I just felt so lucky to be alive because my life's been great anyway, but I felt so lucky to be alive because that, you know, and my dad, it was very like, you know, I was cleaning my teeth and I actually said to him, he'd been around for 2 days, like, are you all right? Because some of the symptoms are very similar to what I'd seen him do. Like, you know, put it bluntly, I couldn't go to the toilet in the same way. And I was sort of, I'm with him. And in the end, I was cleaning my teeth and I went, all right, Dad, you can fuck off now. I said, you've been here for 2 days. Thanks, but I'm through it. And that was a lovely thing.
Yeah, man, that's really cool.
Whether it's just my mind, you know, as I say in Music Must Destroy, you know, burn down religion, but don't burn faith or the filthy. You know, because you know, you're allowed to have faith, and you're allowed to believe whatever you want to believe. Just don't believe what they tell you to believe. You know.
Yes.
You know, so
man.
It was a good. Yeah, I'm getting a bit emotional now, but yeah, I think I was blessed by his death.
Yeah.
You know, and then you sometimes think, oh, maybe I kind of got that completely wrong, but I don't think I did because I felt it really well. And as I say, I had great support. And then, you know, I kind of got off that boat and next minute I was in the ruts and it was cool. And who knew that in another 2 years I'd have another death to deal with, you know. That was kind of hard to I mean, I guess I could deal with Malcolm's death a bit because my dad had died, but it was tough. What happened was we just carried on with the Ruts DC because we didn't want to stop. You know, and we carried on. But when finally the grief was it took a long time to come in. And there was one tour we did in America and we ended up at the Peppermint Lounge and you can find it somewhere. I've never seen it, but we did a gig at the Peppermint Lounge and in the end we came off and me and Foxy just went for each other and we just fucking and I had him by the throat and he was like, you know, we've never done this, but it was the grief come in the end.
Yeah.
And then so they filmed that Peppermint Lounge gig and I was in New York once and I was in a hairdresser, strangely, and they played this video of the Peppermint Lounge. And we go off stage and this is no word of lie. Beams in onto the bass drum and then this bass goes, my bass, that one was bang, and it lands, or I've thrown it across the stage, and it lands in the video, and it goes back against the drum kit. It's genius. I was watching it. I was like, God, where did they get that from?
Oh my God!
And that was the only kind of argument we ever had. But after that, the grief. I just didn't want to do it anymore. It was too hard for me to be the singer and do it. It wasn't going down very well. It was very, very sad. And then that's when the grief hit us all. Like about a year and a half after Malcolm's death, and so that would have been early '82.
Sure.
That was the hard period. Later, because it comes in. Once grief comes, man, it brings a lot of stuff with it.
Yeah.
But you have to go through it.
Well, you can't. You have to, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and but we'd held that at bay, you know, and so yeah, that's when I went to. Then we split the band, and I went to Paris and just sort of lived there for a bit. Yeah, great. I'm lucky, you know.
No, man. So it's good that you did all. I mean, you had to go through that. It was it was inevitable. I mean, you can't. You know.
It never ends.
Yeah.
The grief's over. I mean, obviously, you know, one of my most hated questions to all your interviewers out there is like, "What was it like when Malcolm died?" And you go,
I would never. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was great. You know, of course, it was devastating.
Yeah. Is that what people ask you?
I've had it asked. Yeah. I mean, devastation.
And do they expect you to say?
Yeah. No. Sometimes we go.
What do they?
And you talk about it, and then it's like, oh right. So what's your favourite colour? After that, it's like, what? So anyway,
man.
The devastation and grief goes on for a long, long time, and then we stopped for a while, and then we came back. This is the history. We came back because Foxy got lung cancer, and so we went and did that last gig in 2007 with Henry Rollins doing the vocals, which a long story.
And that's on YouTube. There's some good. Some of it is on YouTube.
Yeah, it's good, and there's a lot about
really
talking about it on YouTube as well, which was great. So we carried on doing the thing, and then Foxy died, and then that was a grief thing. Went to his funeral, and then continued. We weren't going to do anything, but we did the reggae album. Most of this you can read up on, so I'm skipping over. But then, you know, as we do, especially this Crack tour, it was really, really full circle, because here I am singing all the songs of the Crack, and I didn't really want to do it, but we took it on. I thought, I'm going to do it. And Malcolm and Paul, as ever, are there all the time. You know, it sounds like I'm this kind of spiritual guy, but I'm just, their presence is there in the very notes and the very vocals of those songs. So we listen to them a lot. They're always there. And every night, it started off like doing the Crack live, but very quickly it became a bit like a church night, you know. And it was kind of people were there. They'd loved this album, and we were saying, well, this is from, you know, I told a story about Malcolm and Paul, and after we'd done the album, and then it kind of built up, so we're going to do Love in Vain, which was the B-side of Stand and the Rude Boys, which Malcolm wrote right at the end. It's about heroin, basically,
Yeah.
and so we sang, you know, we'd raise them up, and it was electric, a bit kind of church-like. So that kind of developed through the tour. So at the same time, I realised, well, what I'm doing is getting these last bits out. For fuck's sake, you know?
That's great.
And it's just like it was. And I think, you know, when you start getting people saying, you know, we were there, and they both would have been really proud of you the way you did it, and that's really nice. So obviously, it could have gone terribly wrong, you know, but it worked, and it worked, and we got through it. And I felt that only then, so now you're talking 40 years since Malcolm died, only then did I feel that we'd done the full circle. And it's been a long, long path. So the next album, you know, if you're looking in terms of albums, it's going to be slightly different. You know, I might do some solo stuff on Another Thing album, where Tara, Ruffy might be doing some stuff, but we probably will do and finish a Ruts DC album, you know, and you sort of find yourself going, oh, maybe one more before I die. But then, you know, hey, maybe we might do 7. You know, do you know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah, but it sounds like you got some sort of. Sometimes I think we all need permission to kind of move forward with something, and it seems like in this process, you got that from them.
I think, you know, fundamentally it comes from you. But yeah, I've had a real problem being the singer. I mean, you know, I've got better, I think, and I kind of, you know, certainly got better at writing the lyrics. And it's great to sing some of our songs rather than the Ruts songs, you know, and to sing some of my lyrics rather than Malcolm's, although Malcolm had a great turn. And it kind of works well together, but obviously it's been a very long haul. It's been a very long process to allow myself, or to be allowed by them to continue, you know.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. It's like a permission, isn't it? You know, and I think I got that permission. But I think now I can go off and it got critically rewarded, really, the album. But the most rewarding thing, really, for us as a band and for me personally, you know, we did the crack from start to finish. It's 40 minutes, and then we'd come off, and then we go. Well, we didn't come off. We just walked to the front of the stage, said thanks, and then of course, it's only 35 minutes. You know, it's not a show that people are going to pay money to go see. So then we do Music Must Joy, and then people it was almost like they went, oh, that's over. Okay, fasten your seatbelts, and then we do Kill the Pain of It, and so to see those new songs after you played the crack. And people going wild. That is great. And people
that's great. That's great for you, man, too. That allows you to move forward.
Songs. Why didn't you do Golden Boy? I said, well, it didn't fit into this particular thing. So you know, it was a success. And but the code word we kind of had even back in 2007 when we did that Rollins thing. You know, Rollins was saying, look, you know, are you for real, you guys? He actually questioned us, you know, are you for real? Because I don't want to come over to England to do it if you're fucking about, you know. And we're like, Mr. Rollins. And we said, no, our thing is integrity. It's got to be good. Then he started sending lyrics, because there was never a lyric sheet, that he thought they were the lyrics and thought that they were the lyrics for all these years, like you do with Bowie.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, no, it's not that. And I'm correcting his lyrics. That's how it started. And then we said, look, he said, well, look, this feels like the project's going to have integrity. He came over, and our code word at the end, which we can thank you, integrity and tact. So that's exactly it. It's very, very important for us that the integrity remains intact, you know, and I think it does. So it doesn't mean I get up every morning and go, hey, integrity's intact, I feel great. It doesn't mean that. You're still going to question yourself. You're still going to do anything. But, you know, very wise point of yours, the permission thing. You kind of, you know, you understand that. It's kind of,
Yeah, we all need it sometimes, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Last question, and man, your integrity is intact for sure, dude.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate it.
I'm naked from the waist down. I'm joking.
Oh my God. This is awesome. Best ever. No, he really is. No.
What's your definition of happiness?
I'm naked from the waist down.
You put definition of happiness, and I've put a brand new rockabilly haircut.
There you go. We got it. We went to the same barber, man. Biggest change in your personality, Segs, over the last 10 years, and how much of that has been intentional, and how much is just a function of aging?
Oh man, I don't know. How can you sort of really understand your own personality? I mean, I kind of do, but you go mad. I mean, you know, today I'm a happy dude, aren't I? I'm kind of happy. I'm feeling like that, and I think that's what I should aim for. Keep the integrity, keep your humour at all times, and sometimes it's going to be tested to the nth, isn't it? I think that the biggest, I've already been through this really, I think the biggest thing I've learned, and the way my personality, obviously, you know, back then I was like this, kind of funny, and you know, that's why I got asked to join the Ruts, and sort of positive, and I really checked some of the things. When I started writing lyrics, I went a bit negative and a bit depressed and stuff like that, because you know, it's not such an easy path. But I think what I've always kind of had, I think this is what I've learned, is, you know, I always see life like, you know, there's like a golden rail for me, that when the times are tough, I can always go up and like go, and you're sort of plugged back in. As long as you might be rushing around and you might not be able to reach it, you might not be able to see it, you might not be able to feel it, metaphorically. But I think I always know that it is there. Even when I'm at my lowest or everything's really bad, you just got to kind of, you know, I don't use the word meditate like I'm a transcendental or anything, but just to give yourself some time to think, and you find that kind of support is there. That's what I've found. And if you can realise that, and pick the great people around you, then you can help other people too. And, you know, God, it cannot be about what you can get out of life yourself. I mean, come on. You know, it's like, you know, you've done 600 interviews. You've done 600 interviews and people say, what do you get? Like, you know, you must be rich. Like, well, yeah, right. Like I'm paying you, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, you know, it's a labour of love, isn't it?
Yeah.
The music business now, there's not much money in it. but you know, we don't sell so many. We don't do any. You know, we sell our own stuff, but you know, actually, in terms of money, looking back in those days when we sold like 250,000 singles of Babylon's Burning, didn't see any money because it all went, you know, it all goes anyway. So it's the same. So actually, I'd rather sell like 250 records and I'll go, right, they're a tenner each. That's where that money is. And you just see it because we manage it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's great. But you do. I don't regret the. I don't regret what happened. I mean, I obviously regret losing Malcolm. I don't regret signing to Virgin really because that was what, you know, started us off and got us sort of well known. You know.
Yeah.
Started off DIY. We're sort of back in DIY. We've got some really great people around us that help us. You know, people. Yes, it is. Now it is a movement, you know. So to end the thing, it wasn't a movement, but it is a movement. Whether you call it punk, I don't know. But yeah. So that's it. We've gone nicely tied up.
Nice, thanks. You did a good.
Yeah.
Hey, man, listen. First of all, you're a lovely guy. I really appreciate you opening up, man. You're a real sweet guy. You definitely have fucking integrity intact for sure, man.
Apart from it.
No, you're great.
Keeping the race down.
That's I don't judge. You know, it's all good. That makes you happy. The Crack Live is being mastered right now by Lee Groves in Brooklyn. It will be out before the end of the year. Man, when it comes out, let me know. I'll put the link up. I'll let everybody know.
Yeah, it sounded good. It sounded good. It sounds good.
I'm sure it sounds great. And then if you put out something new next year, come back on the show. We'll do a little short show and we'll promote it, man. I love
to. Okay, man. Great.
Yeah. And everybody check out Ruts DC. If you're not hip to the Ruts, go back and listen to all their old music. It's these guys were a seminal band in terms of making English punk and dub, really brought it into the limelight, into the public's eye, and gave more visibility. So check out and support the Ruts. They're also going to be doing a European tour at the end of November.
December, supporting the Stranglers, most of it, but some of our own gigs. So the Stranglers, if you're out there, Stranglers gigs are going to, you know, be a short sort of 45-minute set, but the other ones will be like an hour, quarter, or whatever.
Awesome.
Is that a lot of our old tunes, the great ones? It's a nice balanced set. We play some new stuff, and yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Is that going to be on Ruts DC, the locations, or is on social media or something?
It will be. It's not right now because it's just being finalised, but soon on rutsdc.com it'll be on the thing. Or you can go to bands, I think called Bands in Town.
Yes, go to Bands in Town. That's a pretty good. They're pretty good with that.
Yeah, they are.
And also check out, where can people check out your Tower Res, your stuff?
She's got an EP that I'm working on with called The Black Snake Prophecy, and that should be out October, November.
Where's that going to be? Where can people find that?
TaraRez.com, I think.
Just Google Tara Rez. That's Tara, Tararez.
She was in a band. She, you know, just in case people think, oh, you know, he's got his girlfriend into music. She was in a band called The Jewel. They'd made 6 albums, you know.
Awesome. Hey, man, fuck what people think.
I kind of met her
Don't worry about that.
And I met her because she asked me to DJ at this club we used to do. So she's got Truck TV as well. We're going to start. We've done some good. We interviewed like Cheetah Chrome on her show.
Cool.
We interviewed Angie Bowie. A few people she knows. A lot of people, and we used to do a club every Monday night, and she'd play with her band, The Jewel, who were very good. And you get a lot of other bands, and then we'd interview the bands being heard. It kind of turned into a bit of a TV show, and then it turned into a bit of a romance. So we're going to sort of start doing.
That's funny how you, and that's very British how you said the way and then it turned into a bit of a romance. That's very.
There's a minute she's either got my dinner ready or she's got a new cell.
Yeah, one of the two, man. But so check out Tara Rez, Black Snake Prophecy. It's the EP that Segs played on and produced. I played guitar on that one actually, because you know, obviously I'm known for bass player. But the 330, that 335 right there.
Guitars, not all the guitars, but
the 335.
Is she what?
The 330.
Yeah, that's that. Should I have a look at this one? Look, it is guitar. This is the 1976.
It's a beautiful walnut 335.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
I love that.
Real pretty, man.
I play it, but,
no, come on.
But, so what I'll do, because some of the music is on this climate change announcement for this general strike in England. I mean, it might not be valid, but I'll send you the link in a minute. So
yeah, man, send me everything over. I'll put it out.
Maybe you don't want it because it's, you know, but it is global, isn't it? You know. And,
yeah, man, send it over.
You know,
I'll be happy to turn people onto it.
The last thing to say is that, you know, I know everybody's, you know, we got Brexit going on here, and everybody's trying to make things more divided, but our message to Ruts and Ruts DC and the people in this house is always remains the same, which is people unite. You know, I want unity, not division. And so all of you out there, just remember, you know, they're out there to sort of divide us, but we need to be together. You know, it's a global movement. There's that word again.
Spoken like a true rebel. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
thanks, Segs.
All right, dudes.
Thank you. Hang on one second. Let me wrap up.
Thank you,
everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels. We appreciate your support. Check out Segs Jennings and the Ruts DC, Tara Rez, and everything else that Segs has got going on. Go to rutsdc.com. Make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com. Sign up to get on our newsletter list so you and I can connect. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice, so choose wisely. Be nice. Go play your guitar or your bass and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. Thank you so much, Segs.
Ciao.